and welcome to another Mortgage Coach Tuesday interview. Every Tuesday morning, we're interviewing someone amazing. I do want to remind you, we do have live training every single day of the week. Intro to Mortgage Coach on Mondays. Wednesdays at 11 Pacific, we're teaching you how to use your mobile device in a more strategic way with both realtors and buyers. Thursdays, Q&A. Wednesdays and Fridays, we're doing demos. And every single day of the week, 2 times a day, we're doing live Mortgage Coach University training. So lots of opportunities to train. So I'm super excited to have Todd Duncan back. Last month on August 16th, Todd came in and just crushed it. Todd, we had a lot of people on that call. That call has been watched hundreds of times from a recording standpoint, and we've just got a lot of great feedback. It's good to have you back, brother.
Thanks for having me. Good to be back with the Mortgage Coach community.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to unpacking a whole new level of new ideas. There were a lot of takeaways, but the one that has been talked about the most and has been referenced the most, I would say, Todd, even our trainers are, using your terminology, high trust selling. Obviously, in Mortgage Coach land, it's with Mortgage Coach. So Todd, if you wouldn't mind, just for anyone that missed that call, remind them of when you talk about high trust selling, what is that, and in the context of Mortgage Coach. Just put a little color around that for anyone that missed the call.
Well, it's a great question. We're going to talk a little bit more in depth about that today with one of the terms that I'm going to give to you. But in the world of digital impressions and in the world of technology, it's easy to forget that still what drives everything that we do is relationship with people. And when technology supports that endeavor, then trust flows. And when trust is part of the equation, then conversion goes up. And so in the Mortgage Coach world, particularly with total cost analysis, it is a beautiful, beautiful way to cause what we call a trust accelerant. On its own, it completely differentiates you, but when you marry it up with relational trust, with cross-sell trust, with referral trust, and all the different measures of trust that we have today in the marketplace, it's a 1-2 punch, dude, and very, very hard to have competition when you marry those two things up. You guys there?
Sorry about that, Todd. So Mortgage Coach members, remember the concept of high trust story selling. If you missed that interview, make sure you go back and listen to that call. Todd just nailed it. The term at the bottom where it says most lenders don't, how I'm different is just a great segue to scripting. Most lenders don't do this. This is how I'm different. I provide a total cost analysis. I help families understand their options. Wherever it goes, we dedicated a whole call to that. So Todd, I know we have a big announcement today. Mortgage Coach community is fortunate to have you on a very special day. If you could tell us a little bit about your new book, and then let's go into a presentation on some of the concepts.
Well, we were going to jump on just the whole idea of coming soon, coming soon, coming soon, and I can no longer say coming soon because as of yesterday, the new book was released, so it is with a great amount of honor and a deep appreciation, Dave, that I say thanks because Mortgage Coach is the first group that is going to be able to hear some of the key stuff that comes out of the new book, which is called 5 Stars, Building High Ratings and High Trust in the Digital Age. So we're super excited about it. I got a deck to fire up as soon as somebody gives me controls, and we can roll.
Right on. So, folks, we are gonna put a link to this book in the chat. So within minutes, you'll see a link. But for now, just hold on. Every time Todd Duncan works on a book, it's awesome. It's ideas that are relevant for today's market. I can't wait to take notes myself. Todd, share some of the ideas, and folks, check out the link.
Yeah, and I'll pause, Dave, from time to time. If you want to dive in, we can do that. But so the book is out. It's called 5 Stars, Building High Trust Ratings, High Ratings and High Trust in the Digital Age. One of the coolest things about the book, besides the immense amount of research to it, is the fact that we have an accompanying workbook that goes with it. So as you guys can see on the screen, there is a tool. So if you have a team, if you're a branch manager and you want to get everybody kind of singing the praises and executing on the direction that 5 Stars sets up, then we obviously have made that tool available for you, and you can see that on the link as well. Here's the foundation. The foundation for 5 Stars comes really out of the probably in my head the most important law in high trust selling, and that's the law of the encore. And the law of the encore at the end of the book, 14th law out of 14 laws in the book, the last one, it just basically says that we do all this for one reason, and that is to produce this kind of encore kind of experience. And the beautiful thing I think about Mortgage Coach and total cost analysis and the way that it is a disruptor and that it sets up the way to really involve the consumer and talk about the outcome, talk about the story that they want to have, is that people are talking about us, and when the performance is huge and when we use the tools and we understand the value of high trust, what they say about us is really, really critical. And this is, Dave, I think one of the first points that has to be made, and that is that people are talking about you. As a mortgage provider, they are talking about you. There's no question about that. The only question really that has to be answered is, what are they saying? And in the digital world, what's beginning to happen is that experientially, there are about 1,000 times more measurements of the customer experience in the digital age per minute spent in any transaction, in any endeavor, than there was just 4 years ago. So with digital, the digital world upon us, and with the truth that everybody's talking, the question is, what are they saying, really puts the pressure on to make sure you're on your game. What does it look like when everybody's talking? You know, when people say things about you that are profound, that are real, that are based on their experience, that are true, and they have influence in the marketplace, that is the best way for you to generate referrals of any one thing that's out there. All the marketing in the world, all the branding in the world, all the auto this and you know, broadcast this and that, all that stuff is noise in the marketplace. What is really, really working today is what people of influence are saying about you. And a borrower is a person of influence, and a business owner is a person of influence, and a real estate agent is a person of influence. And so it's happening and it's out there and you can't fight it. So what are people saying about you and giving you and your team brand confidence? How is it then creating magnetic pull in the marketplace? So what I'm about to show you was completely random, but I just decided to do it last night, and I opened my mobile app and I just pulled in, based on a 2-word search, something off of Yelp, and this is what I got. Ends up both these guys have been on the sales mastery stage, but this is the importance of understanding the whole notion behind 5 Stars. Here's 2 guys, they're I don't know, maybe 15 miles apart, both competing for volume, both competing for business, and all I had to do was type in 2 words, and these guys were in the top 5. So when people are saying things about you and people are talking about you, what you have to understand is that is the absolute precursor to accelerating your business and growing your business. I had a chance to meet with one of these individuals face-to-face last week, and what he indicated to me is getting at least 3 buyers a day that are coming to him that have nothing to do with the realtor. They're not, in most cases, even in contract yet. And he said to me, it's probably one of the most effective lead generation tools that he's using, and that is, how am I building a 5-star reputation? So in the book, we talk about 5 things that every business has to do to earn 5 stars. And number 1 is we have to acquire new customers. I mean, every person on this Mortgage Coach call and everybody in the community realizes that you need to have customers that are coming in. The second thing is that you have to optimize that customer's purchase and their service experience. And this is where stories start to get formed, and this is where you can utilize other people's experiences to help you sell. And every human being that comes into touch with you and your team to consider a mortgage, to purchase a home, has to have their experience optimized in the 5-star digital world. And the reason being is because the speed with which the stuff gets to the marketplace is faster than it's ever been. Number 3, and this is a big deal. I talked to a loan officer just 2 weeks ago that was kicking herself because she learned that 3 of her customers had refinanced somewhere else in the last 6 months, and this is a high performance person. So number 3 is we have to really make sure that we're retaining and cultivating that customer for repeat business. And I know that everybody understands this. You can't help but know it if you've been part of a high trust ecosystem, certainly in relation to Dave and Mortgage Coach and what we've done together for all the years. There's no value in the first 2 things being focused on if you can't do number 3. And then number 4 is increase the value of that customer by letting him or her attract new customers. This is where 5 stars really comes into play. And then the obvious is let's repeat, 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 repeat. But if you look at all 4 of these, the one that matters the most, but by any comparison to anything else, the one that will do more to impact the other 3 is this one right here. That is the optimization of the customer's purchase and their service experience. So I wanted to share with you 3 things out of the book, and I'll move in 3 different components, and then Dave, if you want to talk about each one, we can certainly do that. But at the end of the day, the idea behind how do you set this up all starts with you. It starts with you, your team. It obviously probably has started at some point with your organization and what they propose to be and what they are in the marketplace. But every originator that I've had a chance to talk with that is executing 5 stars at the highest level possible has first made a decision to architect purpose. And so this is the 3rd chapter in the book. When we talk about architecting purpose, what we're really doing is talking about some pretty deep stuff that most salespeople don't actually think about. And the deep stuff that I think has to go into really building a 5-star culture, building a 5-star organization, delivering 5-star all the time, is that there has to be a track on which all of us are kind of following a playbook. And the best playbook to follow in 5 stars is a playbook built on purpose. So one of the beautiful quotes that I love from Pine and Gilmore, they wrote a book called The Experience Economy. They said we value a unique product more than just the commodity. We value convenience more than a unique product. We value a unique experience more than we value convenience. So this is total cost analysis just teed up for greatness. Everybody's got a product. You're competing against hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of loan officers. People would like to be able to select that product in a convenient way, all right? And they value the convenience more than they value the product. But at the end of the day, what they value more than either of the other 2 is, okay, the unique experience. And that's the modern mortgage experience. That's what Dave is talking about. That's what we have to do today as we really build a 5-star culture. The architecture for this is, you know, what does purpose mean to the organization? In High Trust, we wrote about the law of the iceberg, which says that 90% of your success is invisible to your clients. It simply means that most of what you do on the surface, if it's tied to something below the surface, it gives that outward above the surface appearance more impact. So when you look at a checklist, and this is an exercise for you guys to grab a hold of, when you look at a checklist of, you know, what does our picture of success look like? Why are we in this business in the first place? What do we want people to be saying about our brand? What do we want it to be known for? How does what you and I do matter? You know, where are we going with this? What's going to guide us? And the questions that I love are the last 3. You know, from the eye of the borrower, what difference are we going to make? And to package that uniquely against any of your competition, hugely powerful. How will our customer be transformed to be able to go way beyond, to go deeper into mortgage strategy, to be a home loan strategist, to be somebody who is transforming the very life of a consumer because of proactive mortgage management and integration of ongoing mortgage plans. I mean, the transformation, if you can articulate that and you get your head around it, it's absolutely monstrous. And then at the end of the day, what's the indelible picture that you're going to be remembered for? And what we have found is that most loan officers don't think long enough to really kind of deepen the purposeful reason for why they're here. Sure, we love putting family into homes. Sure, we love the thrill of the hunt. Sure, we love getting the deal. But at the end of the day, why? I mean, why is this all important? And so the idea behind 5 stars is it's not something you do, it is someone you become. And it is never to be attained, at least in a static, permanent way. There's always going to be an opportunity to get closer to 5 stars. And, you know, the closer you get, the pursuit is so worthwhile. And what ends up happening in terms of collateral and collaborative value is just sick. It's off the charts. So I would like everybody to think, you know, as you look at what the overall experience is that you're creating for the borrower and how a total cost analysis, how high trust come together to be a catalyst to change the life of somebody in a very positive way. How does that look in the market? What can you do differently? And this checklist, I think, will help you get there. Dave, do you have any comments on purpose and the relationship you see, total cost analysis, mortgage coach, the whole reason why you're in business kind of coming into play here?
Absolutely. I mean, it totally ties in, you know, to being an advisor, not just a loan officer, being an advisor. And let's face it, when people sense that you are there to serve them in a very authentic, in a very meaningful way, reviews just come in. You know, so I first of all, I love that you wrote this book. I think it's an incredibly timely topic. I'm looking forward to studying this book. I would ask the audience at this point, you know, if you're on this call and you are using Yelp or you're using reviews strategically, you know, it's not something that's just happening to you. It's something that you're managing, you're encouraging. You know, when I think of, you know, the whole business of being a mortgage professional, you've got to collect and capture reviews. You've got to, you know, you've got to organize them, and then you want to promote them at the right time in the right way. So if you're on this call and you're doing that, please, you know, ask questions, share success stories. At some point in the call, this will turn into a bit more of a Q&A, and I would love to bring in some just voice of the mortgage coach community. So please share what you're doing in questions and ask Todd questions, and we'll get to all of them in a few minutes. Love it, Todd. Keep it rolling.
So here's, I think here's a very cool example of what I mean when I'm talking about purpose. This is a sign inside SoulCycle. SoulCycle is a spin studio, and you may or may not have been there, but this is a full wall, and it says at SoulCycle, we aspire to inspire. We inhale intention and exhale expectation. We commit to our climbs and find freedom in our spirits, our sprints. We are a fitness community raising the roof at our own cardio party. The rhythm pushes us harder than we ever thought possible. Our own strength surprises us every time. Addicted, obsessed, unnaturally attached to our bikes, high on sweat and the hum of the wheel. Core engaged, we reshape our entire bodies one ride at a time. Change your body, take your journey, find your soul. I only put that up there not because I want any of you to consider a new workout alternative. I want you to consider a movement around your brand. And I want you to really consider really pushing hard to re-identify and repackage how you do something and why you're actually doing it. And if you can create a modern day mortgage version of what this kind of architected purpose at SoulCycle feels like, then you by far are off to the races. The second thing that I want to just throw your way is this idea of trustology. And trustology to me today is probably the most important thing that you and I pursue, particularly in the financial world, because of what trust indicators look like and where they have gone and appear to be going, particularly in the last couple of years. But Trustology is a simple relationship that I think you'll find super impactful being a mortgage coach user and being part of that ecosystem. Trust is a decision. Trust is a choice. Being committed to high trust is a discipline. And when you study trust and you begin to really pull back from just a dialogue with a consumer and realize that we're not trying to be fancy, we're not trying to use a bunch of numbers to impress, we're not trying to use color graphics to do anything super fancy, except set things apart and make the presentation come alive. But at the end of the day, it has to be built on something deeper than just that. And I've watched people over the years that when they leave the trust piece out, and even if they embrace the total cost analysis, they don't have the same conversion rate that they could have if trust is high. And so when we talk about Trustology in the book, I use one of Covey's quotes. He said, "Trust is the glue of life. It's the most essential ingredient in effective communication. It's the foundational principle that holds all relationships." So marriages, families, organizations of every kind together. So the question is, in terms of intentionalness, how are you creating trust? And when you marry these two up, the journey begins. It's kind of the future of selling. High trust today is more important than it ever has been. It's responsible for influence, conversion, retention, collaboration, everything. And where tech can be a real strategic advantage, if trust isn't there, then you don't have this ultimate Trustology experience. So what I would like everybody to make sure that you're doing in your kind of ongoing day in and day out relationship with both your agents and borrowers is, how are you keeping the humanity in the sale? And I want you to really take a close look at that. When I say the humanity in the sale, it's far too often that technology be the front, right? We let technology be the sale. We let technology be the maybe even the attraction tool, and those are all accurate. But at the end of the day, if there's not a spirit of confidence that exceeds the conversation, if there's not a cross-sell that sets trust up, if there is not in the first 30 to 90 seconds something that proves trust is about to happen and kind of positions for it, if there's not a deeper conversation, if there are not meaningful points of dialogue, if the conversation isn't slowed down and tech just takes over, it doesn't mean that trust is following right along. So you can have high tech and low trust and not get the conversion. You can have high trust and low tech and not get the conversion. The absolute magic is when you have both high trust and high tech, and those two things coming together then create the highest conversion rates possible. So what does the highest conversion rates possible really mean? In studying our Masterclass Elite group and really looking at high-end impact, high-end consulting, high-end mortgage strategy conversation, all supported with total cost analysis, we're talking about 6 or 7 out of every 10 buyers that you have a conversation with, taking it all the way to application. And we're talking about well over 9 to 9.5 of those people closing with you. And I need you to just start to evaluate where you're at, because if your conversion rates are not going up, there's only one of two things missing. One is going to be trust, and the other is going to be knowledge supported by technology. Those are the only two things that affect conversion. And so if you're not at that level, having just come off the Olympics, if you're not, if your total cost analysis and your borrower consultation are not podium worthy, then you have room to grow. And podium worthy is a term that one of our students gave us last week. And I just love that. She was actually at the Olympics. I just love the idea that my presentation and my consultation with my buyers have to be podium worthy. That means that you're going for one of three medals, and probably gold is the best place to aim for. So this is important, and with all the training and tools that you guys have, obviously, Dave, within the Mortgage Coach ecosystem, people need to pursue this. But don't just let tech be the lead. Tech can attract, but it can't solely on its own convert. I won't have time to get into this today, but the last chapter in the book is called The Triple Threat, and then threat is crossed out, and it actually says opportunity. And what we've done in the back of the book is we've set up how with basically millennials and with Gen X and then with baby boomers, how the trust tech equation comes together. And there's specific formulas on how you use trust and tech depending on those buying groups. And obviously the need for that is today there's enough differentiation in those buying groups that we cannot be one solution fits all. We do have to truly be unique in today's market. So if I'm a loan rep today and I understand 5 stars, 5 stars is completely the outcome of a high trust, high tech, high touch, high performance solution. That's what it really comes down to. So when we put all this together, the thing that I would look at as a reason for being a high performance originator committed to this kind of ongoing pursuit of trust and tech is that the truth is, if I don't combine those in a real way to make an impact deep in the soul of the people that I serve, both my frontline referral partners and then obviously every borrower, I am not going to have the brand value that I could have. And the trend that I'm seeing today, especially in our business, more than at any time, and Dave, we can take this all the way back to the year that we met, there is a mandate today. Years ago, I remember when the first person that I interviewed threw out Lender for Life, and that was their commitment. And then I talked to a high performer 2 weeks ago that loses deals to somebody else in a refinance just because they didn't have it tight enough. Somewhere in there today is this trend of needing to fall in love with your customer. And the idea behind this, I think, serves up everything you guys want to deliver. So let me just talk through this for 10 minutes or so, and then if you guys want to start posting questions on chat on what questions you have about 5 stars, what you have about ratings, how to use them, how to leverage them, how to get them. I think I'll set it up pretty well in the next 10 minutes, and then we'll have some time to do some Q&A. But what I'm seeing in terms of this kind of 25 years of maturation around creating raving fans, keeping customers for life, the whole wow experience, being their lender for life. It's all lip service unless you understand that there's only 2 outcomes for any acquired customer, and that is that you either have to love them or you're going to lose them. And there is a real opportunity, I think, today for any person in business to increase kind of their love factor around the client. And I want you to be thinking about this, whether you are a single loan officer and you're a year or 2 in the business, or you're an experienced loan officer at 20, 25, 15, 10 years in the business. If you look at these words on your screen, love or lose them, black or white, win or lose, dark or light. It's not something that can be kind of fuzzy to you. It has to be that if you're not loving them, loving on them, and treating them as if you are in love with them, you will lose them in the digital world. There's far too much happening today in digital compression, advertising, branding, and all the things that the digital world provides, for you to think for a moment that you can send out auto marketing for a year and keep your clients forever. I mean, there has to be connection. There has to be ongoing dialogue, and there has to be an appreciation and an understanding on behalf of everybody on your team that the client is the most important asset that any of you will ever have. It's the most important relationship that any of you will ever have. And the truth of the matter is, as Sam Walton says, he says there's only one boss, it's the customer. And he can fire everybody in the company from the chairman on down simply by spending his money somewhere else. As you think about this, think about how you guys differentiate. Think about how the culture of your operation is substantially, significantly, and outstandingly different than anybody else down the street, around the corner, or upstairs or downstairs from where your business is. And I'm going to set up just the balance of this by taking you back on how 5 Stars even got written. It got written because Deb and I wrote a book that was released a year ago, that really was an outcropping of what I'm talking about right here. You love them or you lose them. You love them or you lose them. And it doesn't matter what business you're in. If you love them, you keep them. If you don't love them, you lose them. And it's all a choice. Your choice, your team's choice, the company you work for's choice, the culture that is created in the organization. So the book that we wrote was called The $6,000 Egg, and it was the 10 New Golden Rules of Customer Service. But it was based on a really bad experience at a restaurant in Newport Beach, and the simple backstory is we ordered a side order of an egg to be put on our cheeseburger at a brunch one morning, and the kitchen would not honor the request. The bartender, 2 different bartenders asked 2 different times with a space of about 10 minutes the same question. Kitchen said no, they couldn't do it. We talked to the manager, she couldn't do it, wouldn't do it. It was really weird, and we spend a lot of money. We probably spend $500 a month at this restaurant for business and associates, and that's why it became the $6,000 egg, because we had a really, really bad experience because they wouldn't honor a simple request. They had the eggs, they had the kitchen, it was brunch, it was breakfast, but they didn't have apparently enough to honor that request because they had an egg special that day, and if they ran out of eggs by giving us a side order, blah, 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 blah. It was horrific, just really, really horrific. And so when she offered to pay our bill, and it was, I don't know, it was probably 40 times more expensive than the cost of the egg, just our bill at that point in time. I told her, I said, this is the stupidest thing I've ever seen. And she said, why? And I said, you're going to pay our tab. It was like $50. You're going to pay our tab instead of just accommodating a simple request from a loyal customer. And she said, it's our policy. And with that, I said, this just cost you $6,000. And I left. And Deb and I walked down the street a little bit, and we wanted to find out how much eggs actually cost. And we went to Whole Foods restaurant, or Whole Foods Market, and in there was a restaurant. But we stopped into Whole Foods, and the eggs were like 30 cents each. And somebody, a busboy, could have maybe gotten the eggs. And if you've read the book, you know the story. But there was a restaurant in the Whole Foods in Newport Beach where we live, and we went back and sat with Sandy and told Sandy our experience at the restaurant next to Whole Foods. And she said, at Whole Foods, we're taught to say yes. So love them or leave them, love them or leave them, love them or lose them. They'll leave you if you don't love them. I mean, you can tie this up any way that you want. So anyway, we had this incredible experience with Sandy, and I'll tell you about it in just a moment. But what I want to tell you is that in the digital world, and this is so important for you to understand, is that people talk. I wrote a blog about this experience, and I posted the blog that day. And the next day, 22,000 people had the blog shared with them. So in 24 hours, 22,123 people had heard about the negative experience of this restaurant. Okay, that's huge. What do people say today in their social networks about you? People are talking. The question is, what are they saying? And so negative, 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 negative. The thing starts to go viral. I've got CEOs that are believers, huge believers in total cost analysis, huge believers in Mortgage Coach and the purpose for which this company exists, huge believers in high trust selling, that send the blog out to their entire employee base, saying things like, we can never have this happen to us. We can never, ever have anybody say anything like this about us. I mean, it was amazing. And in 90 days, the blog had been shared with 411,000 people. So the obvious point that I'm trying to make for you is that in the digital world today, whatever somebody's experience is, they're going to be talking about it. And what we know about negative versus positive is negative goes faster than positive. And the reason why is because people like negative stuff. They like negative news. They like drama. They like all the things that, you know, kind of set up, wow. It's just like really, whoa. And so we end up writing the book. We end up writing the book, and the point that I want to make, and it's a huge point, is that, and we talked about in story selling last time, we talked about disruption and we talked about differentiation. This is the Google map where this whole thing took place, okay? And you'll see that the restaurant is right here on the screen. And you'll see right here Whole Foods Market. So for one egg that wasn't delivered up here at this restaurant, whose name I won't mention, between there and here is 135 feet. I don't know if it's 9th floor to 3rd floor, if you're in a building that's got 6 mortgage companies in it. I don't know if it's across the street, if you've got competition around the block. I don't know where you are physically. I don't know where you are in your physical space, but I can tell you in the digital world, it is like this close. This is physical representation. There's 135 feet that differentiate a no to a request for an egg and a yes to a request for an egg. And not only is the distance so close, and not only is the story so powerful, but we tested, when we said to Sandy at Whole Foods Market, they wouldn't honor a simple request. And she said, we'll do anything here within reason. So Deb kicks me under the table and she says, okay, we would like to order a Parmesan bacon garlic pizza, and we would like you to put an egg on top. Which I've never ordered that before. Deb's never ordered before. I don't think Sandy's ever had that order given to her before. But remember what she said. She said, we're trained here at Whole Foods to say yes. And so she says, I'm sure we can do that. And 15 minutes later, guys, we have the pizza with the egg on top. And you'll notice a detail here. She came back before the pizza was delivered and said, the chef would like to know if you'd like the egg on top before he cuts the pizza or after. And you can see here that the egg was placed on after he cut the pizza, so the juice would still be there. What is the purpose to this story? The purpose to this story is people tell the world about their experience with you. People tell the world about their experience with you, their world, okay? And then their friends' worlds, and their friends' worlds, and their friends' worlds, and their friends' worlds. And in the digital world, 5 stars is like the seal of approval. It's like the stamp that says you're safe, you're trustworthy, okay? You are a person of their word, you deliver what you promise. In the world of 5 stars, with the digital pressure that we have, word of mouth is the most powerful accelerator, and it is the sharpest knife of death to a business. That's how critical this is. Part of the research led us to this book, Effects of Word of Mouth versus Traditional Marketing, findings from a social networking site. Check this out. Customers acquired through word of mouth had 2 times the lifetime value of customers acquired through traditional marketing. Customers acquired through word of mouth spread more word of mouth and bring in twice as many new customers. Let me just have you go back to the initial conversation with the borrower. Everything starts right there. Everything starts, everything rises and falls based on the trust, the tech, and the touch of the borrower experience. And so part of why you're in this ecosystem in the first place, and part of why you own the idea of a total cost analysis, is because you do want to be disruptive, you do want to be different. But it extends way beyond that. It is the entire mortgage experience. It is contact, it is to contract, it is through processing, it is to closing, it is after. And how far after? For as long as you want to be on top of the earth doing mortgages, it has to go that long. Word of mouth, word of mouth, word of mouth. 2 stats, look at this, 65% of new business comes from word of mouth referrals. That's from the New York Times. And by the same percentage, 65% of respondents trusted WOM referral from people they knew. That's from Nielsen ratings. So the question is, are you leveraging this? Are you doing the kinds of things that create this amazing digital and personal experience? Digital on its own isn't going to do it. Personal on its own without tech isn't going to do it. That's why there's such a beautiful marriage between these 2 thoughts: high trust, high tech. You know, total cost analysis, high tech, it creates digital trust. Not all the equation. Emotional trust, high trust selling, okay, relationship, bring the 2 together, and word of mouth. Now let me take it a step further, and this is where it gets exciting. What ends up happening is if you do this for everybody, but pay really close attention to the buyers of influence, to the people that borrow through you, that have the biggest reach. When you start to think about 5 stars and you start to think about the most important decision you could ever make, it would be to create this experience with the borrower for all the reasons we have to, for all the reasons we want to, and I'm sure for all the reasons we need to, but intentionally because of their social networks, intentionally because of the influence that they have. If you have 50 people that you do a blow it out of the water mortgage experience for, including total cost analysis, and those people have influence over 100 people, you have a built-in ecosystem, a digital ecosystem of 5,000 people. And if 5,000 people are in your connected digital fenced network because of the consumers that you have done amazing things for from a mortgage standpoint, and 10% of them need a loan, you've got 500 deals a year just coming from that group. Let me end this piece of it, and then we can go to some Q&A and dialogue with just how important this story is. So years ago, I interviewed a guy named Harvey McKay. Many of you know Harvey, and if you were at Mastery 4 years ago, you heard me tell this story, but I just want to throw it up here because something happened in the last year that even blew my mind. But I interviewed Harvey McKay on a new book that he had written, and we distributed that audio interview to a couple 100,000 real estate agents, and he was super grateful for it. And so we interviewed on a Thursday at 1 o'clock. On Friday morning at 7:30, I heard the FedEx truck, and I went down to our door, and we had a FedEx envelope. Inside the FedEx envelope was this envelope, and this is a silk envelope that represented his first book, How to Swim with the Sharks Without Being Eaten Alive. And inside the envelope, I pulled out a thank you card from him. And the question that would be interesting right here and right now, how great is your thank you? How indelible is your thank you? At every stage of the mortgage process, how is thank you being delivered? How is thank you being said? How is thank you, just becoming the fabric on which trust continues to flourish? How much gratitude do you actually show the families that you're helping fulfill their dream? And I have to tell you, I was blown away. I'm blown away by this for all the reasons you'll see, but I'm blown away by it because this is a guy that has massive influence, super successful entrepreneur, owns a McKay Mitchell Envelope Corporation. I mean, and I'm a guy that's just trying to make a difference. I have the pleasure to interview him, and I have the pleasure to impact lives, and I'm the middleman. I'm the broker of knowledge. That's all I am in this case. So I open the letter, and in the letter, in the envelope, I open and pull out what now I see as a letter. And this was the first page of the thank you letter that Harvey had sent to me. And I was blown away when I saw this. And so then I went to the second page, and then I went to the third page, and then I went to the fourth page, and then I went to the fifth page. And you can see clearly here, Harvey McKay said thank you to me 625 times, and then closed it with a personal just commentary. I sincerely appreciate the interview. You were just awesome. The interplay between questions was spot on. Best wishes to you for a continued year overflowing with good health, much happiness, and ongoing success. So this is amazing, right? I mean, I get this kind of out of the water, blow away thank you letter, right? So I decide to put this whole story I just told you into the $6,000 egg, and it's under Chapter 10, which is make your thank yous indelible. So what I end up doing is I end up showcasing Harvey McKay, and part of our strategy was to take the book and send 10 or 12 copies to every single person showcased in the book. And so we did that, and this was Harvey McKay's box. This is actually a box that went to the Montage Resort, but we sent one to Harvey, and you can see the label of the book. You can see the books on the right. And so we send this out to Harvey because we want the world, if you look at the gold sticker on the far left box, read this book. It tells the world about your great company. And anyway, we get a call back from Harvey McKay. And my assistant says, this is a Friday morning. Harvey says to her, I need to talk to Todd by 2 o'clock today. So I call Harvey McKay back, and he talks to me about the book and thanks me for the thank you of thanking him for how he said thank you to me. This is all around 2 super powerful words, thank you. He ends the call by saying, I just want to let you know that I love the book so much, I wrote an 825-page write-up, 825-word write-up on it. It'll be in the top 100 newspapers in America tomorrow morning in the business section. And I'm sitting here going, are you kidding me? Talk about word of mouth. And in one fell swoop, going for 5 stars, demonstrating thank you in a unique way, the digital dollarization of this is 13 million subscribers have the chance to read about our brand, about our book, and about Whole Foods Markets. So what I want you guys to recognize is that this book is a book on architecting excellence. It's a book that covers every gamut we could dig up on what do world-class, kick-ass, high-trust, high-value, high-tech companies do today to win the business, to keep the business, to build these kinds of word-of-mouth referral machines, if you will. And I know everybody's having a great, 3 or 4 months here. We're in a solid market. Everybody's, really busy. And I think that what I would like to leave you with as a parting comment is that in the digital world, everybody has more choices at their fingertips than they have ever had at any time in history. And you have to stand out. You have to get bold about ratings. You have to get dialed in on asking for them. You have to get really good at using them and leveraging them. You've got to, every time you can, you have to grab video on people that are giving you 5 stars. You've got to use that video to create trust in advance of people choosing to do business with you. You have to use the people that give you 5 stars to help you find the people that need a 5-star experience. And to the point that you can really dive into this word of mouth piece, this last piece we covered, I think you're going to find that the business for you will be a business unlike anything you've ever thought of. There's a lot of heavy top producers, you know, in your ecosystem, Dave. I know that customer service, quote end quote, is not a new idea, but in the digital world, man, the compression is huge. It is fast, and ratings rule. And what people say about you counts. And so I think that at the very least, hopefully these 45 minutes have kind of incited you to really look at your delivery, really look at how good are you at getting the 5 stars. You know, we're at a 4.73 across our brand. We have some that are a little bit higher. We have some that are a little bit lower. Products, seminars, events, everything we're rating. And, you know, we're not at 5 all the time. We have days that we're at 5, and we have days that we're not. But we're asking, and we want to know. And the people will tell you. And there's no better way to improve your brand than to have people that love you, know you, and trust you, tell you where you may have fallen short, tell you where you might be able to improve. And never for a moment settle on an idea that you've got customer service nailed. It is an organic work in progress every single day, but the pursuit of 5 stars is what makes everything super worthwhile. So hopefully that gives you some meat to act on as you kind of roll through the fourth quarter of the year. So Dave, thanks.
Wow. Well, first of all, Todd, we've got a number of questions. What a great closing slide. I mean, what an amazing story.
Oops.
The impact that you've created. Can you confirm you can see my slides, Todd?
I got you. Yep.
Okay. So we do have questions. You know, before we get to questions, folks, I just want to encourage everyone to not just buy this book, study this book, give Todd top reviews everywhere he is. Obviously, at Mortgage Coach, we love reviews on our apps. But wherever you're doing business, I think everyone needs to be more thoughtful about, are you giving good reviews to folks? Are you giving the reviews they deserve? This new word you created, Todd, Trustology, I love that. I can't wait to read the book and study that. Architecting purpose, you know, I mean, this is so Mortgage Coach community content. I love the way you covered it from a high level perspective. And then you gave checklists. So it looks like this is going to be one of those books where, one, you want to buy it, you want to study it, you want to mark it up, and 2, you want to buy some to give to your agents. So, Todd, let's get into some questions, and then let's make sure we save a few minutes to remind everybody about sales mastery. But here were some top questions that came in. I had a lot of people ask about buying cases of books, by the way. So let's make sure you let them know if anyone does want to buy a case. We saw our buddy Michael Barnes wants some autograph. But before we talk about that, Todd, what are your thoughts on Zillow reviews versus Yelp reviews? You know, you can read the questions. I'm not going to read them out loud. Any comments on that?
Well, so I think it's less about which vehicle you choose for reviews as much as it is about having a culture of getting reviews. So for me, it's really about making sure that you are kind of diving into where you're going to get the most meat for, you know, kind of the muscle. So A, are we asking for them? B, are we leveraging them? I think Yelp and Zillow are both equally as impactful and helpful. I have a little bit more probably lean towards Yelp because I have a little bit of just, and I've had it forever, just concern on Zillow and how it, from just a lead standpoint, unless you're using long form, how it really is a time consumer. So I want to be careful about that. But it, you know, where 5 stars is promoted, it promotes more interest in the category and more interest in, you know, the company, you being the brand. So the thing to me that's most important, John, about your question is, are you asking for them and asking for the order? The order is 5 stars. And so telling people at the front end that you're going to want that, telling them you're going to earn it, telling them that before, you know, they leave, you'd love for them to rate you. I had a guy the other day that was at our house just working on some shutters, and he said, "Is there anything else in your home today that you need from us?" And we're thinking it's about shutters and blinds. And he said, no, do you have anything? And we had a desk that had to be moved, and he and his buddy helped move a desk. And then he stands at my front door, turns his iPad around, opens up his review and says, how many stars would you give us today? I mean, right there before he walked out of the house. And so again, you can literally tell people where you would like them to post the reviews. You can have that in your dialogue. You can have it in your conversation. You can have it in an email. You can, I mean, there's 100 different ways to do that. So with so many sites that post reviews, Zillow, Yelp, Google, what do you recommend and originate focus on? Do we offer several choices to the consumer or get focused on the outlet and build? I think, again, the two that probably are the most relevant are Yelp first. Zillow and Google are probably second. I think it's going to be easier for you to build a Yelp following than a Google following, just because of the exposure of that app. I do want to impress upon you to look at how other brands are doing it to you. Look at how other brands are getting reviews from you and how they're using those. You know, Fandango will always review you 2 hours after you see a movie. So what's the standard? You know, and they ask you, would you like to rate? And then they put in the movie you just saw. I use you know, one of the big banks for our business checking and whatnot. And whenever we have a deposit, a mobile deposit, or a branch experience, we get an email on how that experience went. So the most important thing is probably not where it ends up initially, but that you're doing it, and then to probably, you know, pick your top 2 that you really want to go on. And it just seems to me that Yelp is probably one of the big, front runners there. Yes, well, Michael will do it.
Oh, go ahead, Todd.
No, I just say to Michael Barnes, we'll do anything for you, Michael.
So, folks, we put a link to buy the book online. Reach out to Todd Duncan. Todd, if anybody does want a case of books and order more than just what you have online, or maybe it's online and they can do it there, but what should folks do who want to order in bulk?
Let me just, let's see here. If you open the quote, they have a discount. Let's see here. So, case of 24 is $287, or
there we go.
Is $15.95. So just to click the link that's in the chat box, and it will show you exactly how to buy a case. And then just reach out.
Go ahead, Todd.
What? No, go ahead. If you need
delay. So, folks,
you just need to let us know.
All right. So, by the way, folks, I pulled up the link. There it is. So, Todd, before we wrap it up, you know, we are down to the wire for prep for sales mastery. Anyone who hasn't signed up, what advice do you have them? And I do believe they can still get room. So any advice for any holdouts that have not already booked their seats for sales mastery?
I guess the things that are top of mind for me is, you know, you always have to be learning, growing, and getting better. And the reason we keep doing sales mastery and keep bringing new content and you know, keep driving home the importance of this being your kind of your annual pilgrimage is that we all need to learn, grow, and get better. And whether you're busy or not, the question is, all of us know that rates can change. All of us know that markets can shift. And, you know, what's 2017 and 18 going to look like for you? And so mastery is the ecosystem that we provide all the kind of platform ideation on what to be thinking about going forward. So super easy for Mortgage Coach users, $795 to be there, and guaranteed to give you immediate lift in the next 30 to 60 days of 2 to 5 more loans a month. You know, straightforward. We're gonna focus for 4 days on one word called focus, and I'm really excited about it. I think that you know, this year is going to be one of those years where, with all that's happened the last kind of 24 months, and then where we're going to go going forward, it's going to be big. We got 28 panelists. We're working on 8 different disciplines. I've got 2 outside world-class speakers that are going to be presenting. I've got 2 brand new presentations, and we're going to rock and roll. Number 24, Dave. Can you imagine?
I can't believe it, but I can't wait to be there. So folks, if you haven't signed up for Mastery, it's not too late. We put a link to that also in chat. Highly encourage you to read Todd's book. Please share takeaways. I want to hear about it, and we will cover it more in future calls. You know, this slide that you showed where you talked about trust plus tech equals trustology. I love that, Todd. So we'll be talking about that in future calls. And for all you mortgage coaches on here that are getting a lot of 5-star reviews, you're leveraging them in the marketplace, you're having success, please, let's talk about that. Let's have future calls around that. As we wrap up today's call, and Todd, you get the final words, do please check the poll. Let us know what you thought of today's call on a scale. There we go. We've actually got to change this to the 5 stars. But on a scale of good to great, how did we do on today's call? Did we wow you with ideas and value? Did we do a good job? Let us know how we did. And Todd, what are your last thoughts as we wrap up today's call?
My last thoughts are, man, cherish the value of a customer. I mean, in the world of our futures, all of ours going forward, there is no better strategy to understand every human being that sits in front of you is a life you can change, and do it well, do it with integrity, do it with high regard, and you'll never have to worry about your business. So that would be it. Focus on the customer, and the customer will take care of you.
Well, Todd, we got a lot of 5-star reviews today, so thank you for all the value that you brought to today's call.
Yeah,
it was a 5-star
call.
Love
you guys. Love you, Dave, and appreciate your community.
All right. Look forward to seeing you in Sales Mastery.
See you. Bye-bye. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.